Welcome back, everybody, to Friday Fresh Insights with Vibrantly Living You. I'm Yvonne, the founder of Vibrantly Living You. And as always, I'm here ready to take that stand for you to claim health so vibrant, it's as though you are aging backwards. And why do I say that? Because I really do believe it's true. I do believe that it is possible to be able to put into place in your life the lifestyle changes that promote so much health you feel as though you're turning back the hands of time. Good health it's really the most precious possession that you'll ever have. That's why it's important to keep your focus on it. It's important to make those kinds of practices that we talk about here at Vibrantly Living You really intentional, because good health it doesn't happen just by accident. And especially as we get older, we need to make sure that we've got our eyes on that goal all the time. And that's what we're doing here at Vibrantly Living You. I want to make it interesting. I want to make it fun. I want to make it fascinating. I want to make it possible for you to weave it into your everyday life. So kudos to you for being here today to get yet another morsel about how to live vibrantly. Okay, so we're coming up on the end of March already. Hard to believe. And just several weeks ago, a few short weeks ago, we launched into a new direction here in this space, where we are really focusing on the chakras. The chakras being that energy body that we all have. And for the month of March, we have been focusing specifically on the root chakra. The root chakra. So physically, it's located at the lower part of your body between your anus and your perineum. And it represents symbolically, but even more than just symbolically, your sense of feeling rooted, your sense of being grounded, your sense of survival, of safety and security. And all of those are very, very integral to living a healthy life. Because if you don't feel safe and if you don't feel grounded and secure, then that's going to invite in anxiety and stress. Anxiety and stress, worrying about things all the time, that is the opposite of living a vibrant life. Stress, and many, many studies have shown this, stress is the precursor to so many diseases, chronic diseases and preventable diseases. And one of the reasons for that is that stress invites in inflammation. And inflammation then becomes that breeding ground for toxic materials, for damaged cells, and for the blockage of energy. Blocked energy, stagnant energy, that is what leads to dis-ease. If energy can't flow very easily, then there's dis-ease in the flow. And you put those two words together and you come up with that word disease. So that's why we want to pay attention and have been paying attention to those things that create anxiety and stress through this month of March. And thank you to our root chakra, known as Muladhara, for giving us that ability to focus in those areas. There's something else I want to say about stress that we always want to be aware of, is that, a body under stress is always looking for quick energy in order to deal with whatever that perceived threat is. Just think about what's the first thing you do when you feel that you're suddenly under stress, or you have been under stress for a long amount of time. I bet a lot of you reach for something to eat. Just drop your comments into the chat area and let us know, what is it What's that first thing that you do when you find that you're under stress? Maybe it's stress from work, or maybe you're just worrying about something constantly. Do you notice a change in your eating patterns? A lot of people do that, and there are usually one of two responses to that. Either eating foods that bring us comfort, which tend to be high in carbohydrates, the quick acting carbohydrates, or high in sugar, because the body wants that energy to be able to launch itself into action. Or you completely shut down and lose your appetite. And we've got some great studies now showing, after a year of dealing with the pandemic, what that ongoing anxiety and stress has done to people's bodies. And the data so far is showing that people have gained anywhere from a pound to a pound and a half every month in those months that they were in lockdown. Some people were referring to it as the quarantine 15. Hopefully not very many people gained up to 15 pounds, but if you feel as though the scale is showing a slightly higher number, it could be because your body is trying to deal with that ongoing stress and anxiety. And so we want to get beyond that. Constant anxiety can also interrupt your sleep patterns. And if you have trouble sleeping, then you're going to wake up in the morning and you're going to be looking for that next sugar source. And you might not have enough energy to move your body. And so once again, we have those dual tools, that as I call it, in your toolbox, both nutrition and movement, that come into play. And everything is affected here because of that stress and anxiety. So what have we been doing here in March? We've had some interesting guest speakers, and I've got another one lined up for you today. But in the first part of the month, we were looking at, well, how do you deal with that constant stress and anxiety? And we had Rachel Cooley here to tell us that we can receive support from the unseen realm of our guardian angels. That was very comforting, very, very comforting. And then we had just last week, Bridget Belden, who was helping us realize the need to get really grounded in our own sense of sovereignty, our own personal power, especially if you're a mother. And that will help you feel as though you're rooted again, rooted in something that you believe in, instead of being blown about in the wind. Well, this week, we're going to take a look at something in a much more practical way than I'm sure all of us have had to deal with at one time or another. And that is the state of our money, the state of our finances, the state of our wealth. And so if you've been worried either about your short-term or your long-term security, that's a Muladhara issue. That's a root chakra issue. And it's important to be intentional about how you deal with that, so that you don't have to deal instead with the impact on your health. So I do invite you to drop a line in the comments if you are somebody who regularly struggles with issues around your financial security or money management and the like, or if it's mysterious to you. Just drop us a line in the chat, and maybe there's a way we can get you some help. And so that is why, actually, I have invited my dear friend Elena Korsakova here to spend some time with us today. Now, before I introduce her, I do just want to remind you to be sure to stay until the end of our session today so that I can reveal the chakra food and the chakra move of the week. I also have a small announcement to make toward the end, so be sure to stay until the end. All right, hopefully I have connected the dots well enough between vibrantly living you and eating well and moving well, and why you wanted to take care of your finances. So it gives me great pleasure to introduce, here I'm going to change us to gallery view so you can see and look at this beautiful woman. Elena Korsakova. She is an entrepreneur, a finance mentor, and founder of her own company, EK Global. She is dedicated to helping you understand how to manage financial stress and understand how it affects people here in this country and even around the world. And she's here to share with us her 5 ways to reduce financial stress. So, welcome, Elena.
Thank you, Ivan, so much for very much for having me here. And I love aging backwards. And while you were talking about how we react differently to the stress, I realized that when I'm under stress, I go to the kitchen very often and find some nuts, and I love just graze on those nuts.
For you, that's actually a really good food to get some energy from. You know,
Yes, it's
a lot of
the
people.
healthiest I can find, right?
Well, that's top notch because you're giving your body some much needed fat, good fat, good fats, and that's what your body wants. You know, it gets energy from fat as well as from sugar and glucose, and so kudos to you. All right, so you need to put that as your sixth tip. You know, go eat nuts. Go eat some nuts.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Elena, I really love it that you call yourself a financial mentor, because that is just so much more welcoming and easy to understand because we all need some mentorship now and then, especially when it comes to our finances. So I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and your experience and what it is, why do you love doing this work so much?
Yes, I was born in former USSR. As you can hear, I do have some Russian accent. I've learned that it will never completely go away, and I have to live with it.
Totally, it's charming.
Uh, After the USSR collapsed, I became an entrepreneur and own several businesses since then. And from immigrating to the US 20 years ago until now, I've got involved with various business operations. I managed my family boat business in Hawaii. As a CPA, I conquered the US finance and tax regulations and worked my way up to the role of finance officer in the corporate world. And now I enjoy my freedom business, working for myself as finance mentor, educating people about finances, and helping them to build their financial independence.
Wow. I mean, just wow. Well, first of all, for figuring out the U.S. tax code and all of that, that's just amazing. In addition to landing yourself here in this country, I know there's a lot more
Oh,
behind.
yes. It's very complex.
Oh my gosh. Well, what is it that inspired you to begin working with women entrepreneurs?
Well, it's a good question, Ivan. Women entrepreneurs, I felt that I am one of them. I am a woman, I am an entrepreneur, and it's just, I felt so much more connected to women entrepreneurs because I understand what they are going through, what challenges they're experiencing, and I know exactly how I can help them because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
And yes, so I'm so passionate about business, everything that relates to business. I'm not a regular CPA. I'm also a businesswoman. I understand business very well, and connecting all the dots together is my passion.
See, yes, yes. And I attended one of your training sessions and I felt like I grew not just as an entrepreneur, but just, as a person who, has to, balance her checkbook every single, month or not. And so, do you have something to offer in your terms of your advice, your coaching to people who maybe are not necessarily an entrepreneur, but for an everyday person or a person who
Oh,
wants?
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I can always adapt my knowledge, my experience to people who are not entrepreneurs, because the finances are, you know, they even though we talk about business finances and personal finances, in reality, they're all intercommingled. And even entrepreneurs who have businesses, we always, in my work, when I work with them, we always look at personal finances as well, because many of them are small business owners or sole proprietors, and their personal finances is their life, and it is so intercommingled with the business. So it's absolutely can be adapted.
I never thought of it that way. I suppose that if you are a business owner, that whatever practices, habits you have, good or bad, in your personal life would be, you might transfer over into your business world, and sometimes maybe that's not the best thing, or maybe it means that there can be improvement on the personal side. So,
Right, but keep in mind, Yvonne, that what I suggest to all my clients, we need to separate all those,
of
the
course,
business and personal life to be efficient.
I'm thinking mindset more than anything.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah, good habits and bad habits. Before we delve into your the tips that you're going to share, I just, you and I think, we've had several what I consider very interesting conversations about this connection between health and wealth. There's so many different ways. You keep talking about the interconnectivity, but there's a lot of interconnectivity here, because when we think about just the cost of healthcare in the United States, which is, very challenging for so many people, that it's like there are two ways to deal with it. And of course, what I'm all about primarily is about dealing with it from a health standpoint, to avoid having to get entangled in the healthcare system, or if you do end up getting entangled in the healthcare system, then to at least reduce the amount of the impact, and doing that by having healthy lifestyle practices. But there's another connection there too, and that's through wealth. Yeah.
Oh yes, absolutely, Juan. I see the very tight connection between wealth and health. Even though many people say money cannot buy happiness, but I always say that, money can buy me some happiness, some good lifestyle, um, and of course, there are more, many more opportunities for having better health. I can, when I have enough money, I can afford to buy all organic food. I can afford to go to some retreats and unwind and take care of my health and do all kinds of healthy treatments, so I don't have to pay, for all those doctors. I can, if I have enough money, I can prevent all those, many of those disease that we are accustomed. And that's why for me, wealth and money, um, of course, we do understand that if there's some illness that you cannot do anything and money cannot do anything, we know those instances, but at the same time, the money can afford you to have a healthy lifestyle.
Sure. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I find that such an interesting um, connection between these two worlds. And, that's not to say that you can only be healthy if you're wealthy, right?
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
really about just having enough. right? Having what you need.
There is a balance, right?
A balance. Having what you need with, health and wealth. And then back to our primary topic today is um, having what you need so that you don't feel the stress and the anxiety of not having what you need. Yeah. So that really starts to get us closer to what I wanted to zero in on for today. Based on your experience working with your clients, to what degree do you see stress showing up in their lives?
Well, we never seem to have enough money, right? Financial stress can come from being in debt, from not earning enough money, the expense of raising kids, not having enough savings for retirement, or if you own a business, not having enough cash to pay for the bills. So there are many, many areas to experience that stress. And a recent survey shows that 72% of Americans suffer from money related stress. Just think about this, 72% of Americans. And it makes make it one of the most common worries people face in their daily lives. And the situation is even worse around the globe, especially in the tough times we are all facing now with COVID-19. Many people have lost their jobs, businesses, and there is so much uncertainty in the economy right now. And it's almost impossible to completely eliminate financial stress, but we need to do anything we can to reduce it.
Yes. Yeah. So, how do you advise people to reduce financial stress?
The best way to reduce your financial stress is to gain a clear picture of your situation, to take control of your finances and make small improvements or adjustments that address your biggest worries. And today I will give you some practical tips to help you lower your stress level and move you closer to reaching your financial goals. How does it sound?
That sounds really good. Sounds like just what we need. Like,
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, first, have a plan. When life gets hectic, a financial plan acts a lot like your checklist. What I suggest you to outline your financial goals and budget to develop your financial game plan. You might have a short goals and long-term goals, and just very simply put on a piece of paper somewhere your short outline, your short goals. Maybe within a year you want to go to Hawaii. Now it's becoming possible again with some restrictions, right? You have to take a test. But if you want to go to Hawaii this year or next year, this will be your short term goal. Or the long, and the other column will be your long term goals. Um, Maybe your daughter's wedding planning, or buying a home, or saving a certain amount for your retirement, and um, and also allocate the budget for saving for those goals. And having a plan also helps you evaluate your savings potential. You can calculate yours by taking your monthly income after taxes, not before, after taxes, and subtracting your monthly expenses. Whatever is left over is your saving potential. This will help you measure your money management success. For example, if you've set a savings goal of 1,000 per month, but your savings potential is only 800 per month, you're setting yourself up for failure, right? So create a plan that works for you and your budget. be realistic, and stick with it.
Mm.
This is my first strategy.
Okay, I think everybody, you should pull out your pencil or your pen and take these notes.
Yes, take notes, guys.
This is great. Okay, what's tip number two?
The second strategy is get an emergency fund. Oh my God, this is my favorite. An emergency fund is a savings account meant to cover unexpected expenses and financial emergency. For example, a car repair can be expensive and stressful. If you know uh, um, you can tap into your emergency fund to cover it, it it will eliminate that stress, and a lot of stress will go away. It is also easier to use the money in your budget the way you planned if you know you have the extra money in the bank ready to cover the unexpected emergency that may appear. And you should aim to have 3 to 6 months living expenses set aside. And I recommend my clients now to have 6 to 9 months because of the COVID-19. We see that it's been already a year, right? Uh, and that's why it's so important to have that emergency fund. And building an emergency fund may seem tough at first, especially if you are struggling to make ends meet each month. So start putting aside a small amount, whether it's a $10 or $100 each month, so you can build up your emergency fund.
Mm. You know,
And you may also consider selling any unused items around the house to build up that cash as quickly as you can.
yeah, so many good tidbits in there. One thing that came to mind was, you could make creating your reserve fund, your emergency fund, a short-term goal.
Mhm.
Yeah, and make
Yeah.
that, in your plan, make that your short-term goal for your plan. I wonder,
Right.
would be.
Right. This is a great idea, Ivan. This should be probably number one, number one your goal if you don't have that emergency fund. And it also applies to the businesses. If you own a business, then you also need to create an emergency fund for your business to cover your monthly expenses. It's
Mhm.
very, very important.
Mm, I'm making a note of that on my entrepreneurial side. Okay. Okay.
Okay, next way to eliminate stress is eliminate debts. If you have any debt, oh my gosh, depending on the size, being in debt can take a toll on your mental state. Prioritize debt repayment in your financial plan, not only to feel better about yourself, but also to avoid escalating interest charges and paying more in the long run. And if you're juggling multiple debt payments, consolidate them. Consolidating your debt could help simplify your repayment. So you only have one payment to track each month rather than keep up with multiple bills. For example, if you have student loans, you could consider a refinance loan to bundle multiple debt sources together.
Mhm.
And in some cases, consolidating could even help you lock in a lower interest rate.
Mm, yeah. I am so grateful that early on in my business career, long before I became an entrepreneur, I received some good advice to just, pay off my credit card. Once I had the ability to um, pay the balance, yeah, then to just do that instead. When I was younger and naive, I looked at, oh, it's only this amount of interest, no big deal, and so I was just carrying it on from month to month. But if you've got the ability to pay off that balance, you know then do it, and don't let that be that short-term debt that's hanging over your head.
Absolutely, Ivan. And credit cards are the worst. are the worst because the interest charge is usually very high and you just paying to the bank much, much more than you should. And there's so many offers now for with 0% for certain amount of time, 0% interest charge in interest credit card. So if you have any of you have many credit card debts, so maybe it's good to consolidate them under one with those 0%. So it will give you some time. You will win some time to build those savings. All right, moving on. The next strategy is automate payments and savings. Let's face it, life can get hectic, and this causes you to forget things from time to time. Whether it's your friend's birthday gift or paying your phone bill, and setting up an automatic bill will can help lessen the stress of remembering to pay bills and could avoid costly penalties for missed payments. Treat your savings plan the same way. Automate your savings so that it comes out of your account just like your monthly bills. That way, you'll have a better chance of sticking to your savings plan. Remember, save first, spend second. And however, automating these payments doesn't allow you to forget about your bills entirely. You still need to have enough funds in your account to cover the expense. That's where your budgeting and planning comes into play. The number one tip I talked about. So pay attention to that.
Sure. Yeah. One good thing about when you automate your savings, putting something into your savings each and every month, once it's gone, it's out of sight, out of mind. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you get used to not seeing it in your checking account to be, tempted
Right.
to spend. It's already safely tucked away.
Pay yourself first.
Yeah.
And finally, get help. When it comes to handling your finances, there is no shame in asking for help. A trusted advisor or finance mentor can offer suggestions and insights to help you on the path to success and avoid financial stress. Having a professional in your corner can provide the guidance and reassurance you need along the way. And nobody said you need to do this alone.
Mm, that is very comforting indeed. And yeah, I would certainly love to have a mentor like you in my court. And I bet it's possible. I bet it's possible for that to happen. Yeah. Do
Of
you?
course.
Yeah. If people were interested in connecting with you, how might they do that?
Well, Ivan, I've shared with you today 5 ways you can reduce financial stress. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. All these ways lead to the truth about money. Either you stay in control of your money or money control you. Not paying attention to your money or being in denial about your financial situation can break and hurt you big way. That's why I'm so passionate about supporting women on the way to success and help them to navigate finance world and to find a safe harbor with me so you can enjoy your life. And that's why I created a special invitation just for your community and opened few 30 minutes laser sessions with me, so where we actually can review your financial situation, discover your weakest points, and help you to set up for success. I have only few appointments available, and if you are super serious, grab a link for my free session to set up an appointment. I'm sure that we will be able to post it in the comments.
Absolutely.
Uh, and also, if you visit my website, elenakorsakova.com, we also will provide a link to that. You can get a special tool there that I really, really suggest you to have. It's a financial life organizer. It will be on the front page. You will not miss it. And financial life organizer will be a tremendous help to you in organizing your finances and eliminating the financial stress.
Elena, this is so generous of you. So generous in so many ways. First of all, bringing us these very, pardon the pun, rich tips on how to reduce anxiety. I really appreciate you sharing your wisdom with us. And then, secondly, everybody in the Vibrantly Living You community recognize she has a few slots open for some laser coaching and get some of what she's got to offer you. Head over to her calendar link and sign up. We will make sure that there is a link for this below
Thank
the
you.
stream. Absolutely. And
And
the
Ivan,
life organizer. I mean, that's a trifecta right there that you've brought. So thank you.
if you're welcome. And Ivan, the bottom line is we all stress about money from time to time. I don't believe there is no this stress ever can go away completely. But implementing any of these simple action steps that I talked today about can help you feel more in control of the situation. And so take the time to see what positive changes you can make to your money management, then turn it into action.
Yes, yes, yes.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to talk with you today, Ivan.
And a pleasure to have you on. And like I said, I took a training from Elena, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to bring her here to this community. And she's really helped me be much more positive about my own money management, even to the point of anointing Mondays as my, money Monday.
Hey,
Yeah,
I'm so happy for you.
yeah. That's the day when I look at my accounts. That's the day when I pay my bills, and instead of procrastinating and putting off, which just adds to stress, right? It just adds to stress. I'm taking care of it on Mondays now, and I got inspired because of Elena. So I do highly, highly,
Bravo.
yeah.
Bravo.
Come back. We are definitely going to have you come back. Okay, so as we close out this issue or episode of Friday Fresh Insights, I want to leave you with your chakra food and your chakra move of the week. So last week, I believe it was onions. The week before was carrots. And this week, it is sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes or yams. They are actually different foods. They do taste a little differently, but I'm more familiar with sweet potatoes. Actually, I may keep my eyes open for some yams, but sweet potatoes and yams are some of the most user friendly, tasty, versatile, and palatable of the root vegetables. There's so many things you can do. If you happen to have a recipe that you'd like to share, hey, I'm all ears. Just drop it into the chat, and we'll make sure that I'll definitely give it a go. But also, your sweet potatoes are rich in fiber, always so important. Vitamin C, even manganese and vitamin A. And they're also a good source of antioxidants. Antioxidants are what help us reduce that toxic inflammation in the body. Now, when we talk about that vitamin A content, there are some studies that show that that's helpful for your eyes and also for your skin, and can protect you against vision loss. So there's lots to love about sweet potatoes. one of the things you can love about them is that you can do just about anything with them. They can be baked, they can be boiled, they can be roasted, they can be sauteed. You can enjoy them as a side dish. You can roast them up and add them into a salad. You can even put them in brownies as a substitute for some of the butter and the oil in brownies. So I'm going to challenge you to include some sweet potatoes in your diet this week, and then let me know how that turns out. And as an extra bonus, I'm going to drop a recipe into my private Facebook group, Vibrantly Yours. If you're not a member of it already, if you're watching this on Vibrantly Living You and you want to be a part of the Vibrantly Yours community, then just uh, head over there and I'll admit you, and you can get a recipe for sweet potatoes that is wonderful as a main dish. It'll fill you up all day long. It's got all kinds of extra other goodies into it as well. So that's your chakra food of the week, the root vegetable of sweet potatoes or yams. And now for your chakra move. Your chakra move of the week. I've decided it shall be chair pose. Chair pose. And that doesn't mean that you sit down in a chair. It means that you organize, you set your body like it is a chair. So the way to do this, if you've taken yoga, you're probably familiar with it. You want to stand with your feet just a few inches apart, sort of inside hip width distance, and then bend your knees and stretch your tailbone backwards as though you are reaching back to sit in a chair. Root yourself strongly through your heels. You might even be able to lift your toes up a little bit. You really want that energy to be going strongly down through your heels as you're reaching your tailbone back and extending your arms forward. And hold that position for a few breaths, longer if you'd like. The more you do it, the deeper you'll be able to go each time, and you'll be strengthening the base of your body from your feet on up, and that's your connection to your root chakra. You want a nice, strong base. So practice a few chair poses. Get up from your Netflix addiction every once in a while and extend your arms into chair pose. Be sure to tuck in that belly to engage your core. I can't believe it. Here we are already at the end of Friday Fresh Insights. Next week, I will have a very, very short program and a special announcement about what is going to be happening with Friday Fresh Insights. I believe next Friday is also Good Friday, so I may be putting a recording out on Thursday, or I might go live on Friday, but if I do, it'll just be for a little while because I want you to be able to enjoy your holiday weekend. Remember, as always, we are here. We want to hear from you to help you on your journey for health so vibrant it's as though you are aging backwards. Always feel free to book a complimentary Vibrant for Life breakthrough session with me. And remember the trifecta of Elena Korsakova, all of these great notes that I hope you've taken, her financial life organizer, and she's got a few slots open for laser coaching if you've got questions about your financial security. Get rid of that stress, get rid of that anxiety. Remember, a vibrant life is yours for the taking. Have a great week, everybody. See you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.